It is October 24th. This is the regular meeting of the Reno Sparks Convention Visitors Authority Governing Board of Directors. I want to welcome everybody this morning to a nice fall day. Can't beat these fall days here in northern Nevada. So with that, what I'd like to do is have a pledge of allegiance, and Mr. Delone, if you'll take the honor and lead us, please.
Sir, I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Delone. Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Caroselli?
Here.
Ms. Keel is absent. Mr. Kornstein is absent. Mr. Lawson?
Here.
Mayor Sheevy?
Here.
Ms. Silver? Here. Mr. Sturbins is absent. Mr. Wood?
Here.
And I did receive a message from Ms. Keel that she is going to be joining us shortly, but we do have a quorum of 6 members of the board at this time. So with that being said, thank you, Madam Clerk. We do have public comment this morning signed in. I have Mr. Mark Kimbrough. Mr. Kimbrough, if you'll take up to the podium and we'll get you started. Mr. Kimbrough, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning. I think I feel a little underdressed here this morning, though. I went to an EDOM meeting, and that's where I was suggested to come to this meeting. I represent a very large group of people in Truckee Meadows in this community that is working on a trail plan. And I bring it to you because actually in your strategic plan, and actually priority number 1, it talks about connections to the outdoors and how much better that you have connections outdoor than with trails. And Mike Kazmierski from EDON was kind of the visionary leader that started this group rolling along. And I'm the person that's helping put this plan together, having done one in Carson City very successfully. What we're doing is looking at all the trails that are in the community in Truckee Meadows. We're trying to connect them all so that every home is like a trailhead to get you to the outdoors or to the surrounding areas. And we've done a very extensive plan, taking us more than a couple years just to get the maps done, to inventory what's out there before you make a plan. So what we got so far, we have 303 miles of trails just within Truckee Meadows are connected to it, like up into the forest or Peavine. 114 miles of paved pathways, because we're looking at those too, so you can come from your house on a bicycle or with your kids and get to a trailhead to go to the outer doors away from the pavement. But we found 53 miles of those illegal, which actually I looked on your website, and a couple of them are on the website because people don't understand that sometimes there's trails that people make, that people use and map, but the agencies have no clue sometimes, or they aren't part of their system. So we're working on resolving all those issues, getting all the trails together. We're about 90% complete on the plan. We have a ton of partners. All the agencies love what we're doing. There's private business. There's EDON as the primary funder right now. And what my hope is that RSCVA becomes a part of this. And we just had a meeting the other day that actually, because of this good trail community that's in this area, they're bringing a national trails convention here in 21. And we just met at the Nugget the other day, and Shelley Fine was there. So I hope that maybe RSCVA could put their logo on the brochure that we have as a supporter of this, not necessarily funding, but as a supporter of understanding that this is a community-wide. And I know I'm pushing the 3 minutes, and I appreciate that. And to work with staff so that when we get finalized, we can have a good website, we'll have a good brochure, we'll try to connect all these, and it takes years with trails, but we'll have a plan in place. And the big challenge will be to work with the planning agencies to get them to incorporate some of these policies to protect trails in the new subdivisions and connect to the outer, and then to work with the agencies to get a little bit of money, not a lot, from the agencies to support this implementation as we move forward. So that's as brief as I tried to be, and I thank you for your time this morning. There's brochures up here if you have some interest, with my phone number in contact, and if there's anything else that's requested, I'd be glad to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimbrough. All right. Seeing no further public comment, is there any individuals in the public who'd like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close public comment at this time. We are on to item C. which is the approval of the agenda for October 24th for the Board of Directors. I would like to recommend a change this morning due to Madam Mayor being unable to be with us in person this morning, and Mr. Kornstein and Mr. Sturban's unavailable as well. I'd like to move item H1 from today's agenda to the December agenda, which is a review of the digital marketing influencers, so that we could all see Ms. Ernie's presentation in person, hopefully next month. So if that's okay, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the agenda as posted with the change of H1. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. Item D, approval of minutes of the December 26th, 2019 Board of Directors regular meeting. Any changes or alterations anybody would need to make to the minutes at this time? Seeing, looking for, I have a motion. I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, presentations. Mr. DeLone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The week of October 1 to 4 found Chairman Lucy and me, plus sales executives from all of our major destination resorts in Washington, D.C. metropolitan area for an extensive sales mission calling on our key prospective accounts there. Washington, D.C. is unique in that it has over 4,000 national trade associations headquartered in the metropolitan area and is really known as the nation's prime convention market and is so for Reno Tahoe. From the calls we made together, Chairman Lucy, our Washington, D.C. representative, Jennifer Abdenor, and I influenced tentative bookings that total between 14,500 and 24,500 room nights of future business for the destination, and moved those accounts further along the booking process. There is a supplemental report that is filed at the RSCVA that details all of the accounts that we called on and the action steps. So with that said, thank you, Chairman Lucy. You're a good salesman and you did a good job. On the weekend of November 15th, I've been invited on behalf of the RSCVA to present our destination to the Executive Committee of the International Association of Emergency Managers. The goal is to win their business for their 4,000 room night convention and 100,000 square foot exhibition to be held at our convention center for mid-November of 2023. Also, as you may have heard, the merger of our management company of our facilities, SMG, has merged with another large entertainment and management company, AEG, which is based in Los Angeles, and this now forms the largest single entity for arena and convention center management in the world. AEG has long been a leader in entertainment venues domestically, as well as managed facilities in Europe, Asia, and the South Pacific. The new company is called ASM Global, and that company now spans 5 continents, 14 different countries, and manages more than 300 arenas, stadiums, convention centers, and performing arts venues, including the 4 here in Reno Tahoe. In respect to media relations and industry outreach, on October 7th, I was interviewed on behalf of the RSCVA for a feature in Nevada Business Magazine on the prosperity of Northern Nevada's tourism economy and an outlook going forward. On October 10, I addressed the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority Board of Trustees with a presentation on the RSCVA's results from this past year and a briefing of what lays ahead this coming fiscal year. And on November 13th, I'll be a keynote speaker at the Nevada Governor's Global Tourism Summit, speaking on what the future holds for Nevada and tourism. With the United States Bowling Congress on October 17, they reported that the Spring 2020 tournament in Reno will be very well attended. Fully 7,400 teams have already signed up out of the 8,063 teams originally forecasted. This pace through October 17th is 23% higher than the last tournament open held here in our destination a couple of years ago. On November 11, Chad Murphy, the executive director of USBC, will be here in town to make a final site inspection of the newly remodeled bowling stadium, which is ready, but we are waiting on furniture, which will arrive in early December, and then based upon that placement of that furniture, the stadium will be ready for full operation. It's probably best to report that down at the National Automobile Museum, many of you know Jackie Frady, the executive director. She's been there 27 years. She is retiring in early November, and gaming executive Buddy Frank, who will be the acting executive director of the museum whilst the board seeks a replacement. Through its work with museum design consultants Gallagher & Associates, which is based in Washington, D.C., the museum board continues to address the need for a complete revisioning of the entire museum facility, with the primary goal to modernize the experience to attract a younger generation of visitors. Design charrettes will take place in the next 30 days, and 10% of the charrette participants are the younger generation of our RSCVA employees. So we have involvement there. As we look at the scorecard and market mix, in review of the RSCVA monthly scorecard for August, cash occupied rooms in Washoe County were 335,749, down a small margin of 2.3% from the year prior. However, here again, conversely, the average daily rate in the entirety of Washoe County was up in August by 7.4% from the year prior at $138.98, the highest average daily rate ever in the month of August. In just the Washoe County hotel market segment, of which 43 properties report statistics for that, cash occupied room nights were down from the year prior by 3.3% to 278,903 room nights. But here again, conversely, the average daily rate of those 43 hotel properties was up 7.5% from the year prior to $146.25, the highest rate ever. Of the top 11 properties that give detailed reporting, the market mix in August was 14.1% convention business, 28.5% was tourism driven. Comp room was quite high at 28.6% was the mix for comp rooms, and 25.7% was the free independent traveler, FIT market segment. That's my report, Chairman Lucy. More will be covered as we move along.
Thank you, Mr. Delano. I appreciate the report and the gratitude shown by you.
You were a good salesman. I've got to hand it to you. Thank you very much.
Look, I was just merely a
pawn. I know.
I know, just carrying your briefcase the entire time.
Yes, sir.
So on to Ms. Cunningham.
I have a quick show and tell. Let's see. Okay, before I do this quick little video, I want to mention that earlier this week we got coverage thanks to Decker Royal on NBC's Today Show. And as Chairman Lucy was referring to, our fall in this destination is second to none. The segment on NBC was covering perfect fall getaways, and they highlighted a couple of destinations. Reno Tahoe is one of them. And they positioned the destination. I'm going to just tell you a few things they said because it's hard to understand on our sound system. But they positioned Reno Tahoe as a destination with newfound energy. And some of the sound bites include, Reno is really seeing a new energy, and it's brought a very young hipster energy. Downtown has a lot of outdoor art and breweries. It's a hipster place in waiting, like a mini Portland. And they kind of joke on that at the end. This was seen on when it ran by 4 million viewers. Then it ran on Today Show's website for an additional 18.1 million impressions. And then last of all, it was syndicated to MSN for another 723 million impressions. So the incredible mass reach and awareness for the destination. All right, let's hit it.
$90 a
Wow,
month.
that's a
pretty
deal.
fabulous.
Pretty good, right?
All right, we'll take the Magic School Bus now and go to Reno, Nevada.
We are indeed, again, a very fast road trip over to Reno, Nevada. Reno has really seen a new energy since Burning Man. There's this sort of arts festival in the summer in the desert near Reno, and it's brought in a very young, sort of hipster energy to Reno. Downtown, you're seeing outdoor art, lots of craft breweries, really kind of a sort of hipster place in waiting, like mini Portland. And I would send you to the
It's a hipster place in waiting.
Yes, thank you very much. Does that sound nice? Which is so good. And I would send you to the Renaissance downtown, which is a great hotel.
Did you say Renaissance?
It's like Renaissance, except not.
It's like, divided by a common language.
You just call the guy out.
I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying.
Now, let's go where we normally think about the fall, and that's the Northeast.
Yes.
So excellent, excellent coverage. We were all thrilled to see that. The other thing I want to show you is many of you are aware that we, in the remodel of the National Bowling Stadium, right when you enter on the ground floor, was a huge bronze statue called America Goes Bowling. And between the RSCVA and the city of Reno, we took that statue. We wanted to clean up that foyer during the remodel. And we took the statue and we sent it to the International Bowling Hall of Fame, who were so excited and thrilled to receive it. And the International Bowling Hall of Fame is connected to the USBC offices, which is connected to the Bowling Proprietors Association, which is all in Arlington, Virginia. Very close to where the stadium is. Okay, so they sent me this photograph just the other day. How do I get this on the, bear with me. How do I get that? Ah, there. Doesn't it look great in its new home? I think it's just fantastic. And so we have a little bit of Reno right outside the campus there. The bowling campus is what they call it. So I'm pleased to share that with you. The other thing I want to mention, I'll just go ahead since I'm up here. We're a major sponsor for the Nevada Museum of Art, and we're sponsoring the decorative arms. It's a exhibit on the firearms personal collection of Mr. Lee's from Reno. The Nevada Museum of Art has invited our board members to a special tour by the curator of this exhibit and a reception. And that's going to be on December 4th at 4 p.m. I will get an email out to everybody with the information. They're extending an invitation to this group for the opening lecture, which is going to be by the assistant curator of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. They're concerned the whole thing will be selling out, so I will get that information out to you guys right away as well, and that will be November 16th. So some exciting things coming up in the next couple of weeks for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Appreciate it. Mr. Largetta.
Good morning. Thank you, Jennifer. Having not been present at the prior two board meetings, I wanted to make sure that I provided a detailed update on convention sales numbers for the months of August, September, and also how we finished for Q1. For the month of August, room nights totaled 31,646 on a goal of 23,876. Within those 31,000, 23,489 were dedicated to the convention sales segment, 7,820 to sports, and 337 to the Livestock Events Center. For the months of September, gross produced room nights were 19,186 on a goal of 18,883, again surpassing goal for 2 consecutive months. For the quarter end Q1 of this fiscal year, total room nights totaled 75,844 against a goal of 61,824, or 123% to goal. In terms of how we're pacing versus same time last year, through Q1 this year versus Q1 prior fiscal, we're currently 17,000 room nights ahead of prior year. I'd also like to point out that of the 75,844 room nights that were booked in this Q1, 78% or 58,910 of these room nights were new or reintroduced to the market. New is defined as having never been to the destination or not engaging the assistance of the RSCVA, and reintroduction is defined as have not been in the market for a minimum of 4 years. So a very positive stat that 78%, again, is defined as new or reintroduced to the market. Several activities by the team this last 90 days, specifically the last 30. We participated in an Art of Burning Man exhibition with 40 clients in the Bay Area. We also participated in HPN's annual conference in Seattle. On the sports side, the team's conference, the United States Olympic Committee, the trade show took place in Anaheim, California, with over 300 planners and 50 one-on-one appointments. We hosted 20 clients at Angel Stadium for in a suite, a baseball game, the Angels versus Astros. We also hosted an event in St. Louis for the Cardinals versus the Cubs. There was also an event in Kansas City. We sponsored the PCMA Greater Midwest Chapter event. We held an event in Minneapolis, PCA Capital event in DC. We were engaged in the AMC Institute, and also the majority of the team participated in Connect Marketplace in Louisville, Kentucky last month. We continue to see an increase in site inspections, which, as we all know, is key because we feel that once we get them to the market, we win more than we lose. Our track record is over 50%. The key is getting in here. In closing, I also wanted to remind the board and mention that we have a major group program arriving in the next 6 weeks. The Department of Education will be holding their Federal Student Aid Training Conference December 2nd through the 7th, totaling 16,084 contracted room nights and an overall economic impact of $8.1 million to the region. We are confident our city and host hotels will do an outstanding job of hosting these delegates. That's my report today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Larragetta. Is there any questions for Mr. Larragetta? All right, seeing no questions for that. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, Chairman. The August Tourism Channel monthly reported room nights were 76,770, or a decrease of 1,605 room nights from last August. Year over year, we're at 152,504 room nights reported versus 154,590, for a decrease of 2,086. And again, we continue to see the higher pricing strategies and third-party rate management from our hotels. But again, that also correlates to increased ADRs in this channel as well. Activity for the last 30 days for the team in the next 30 days is as follows. Partnership marketing, we're working with Expedia to fill our need period shoulder months. Mail Pound targeting 55,000 travel agents throughout the U.S. And Sabre, which is a GDS strategy, which is a much higher ADR than traditional wholesale rates. In the next 30 days, we'll be launching a campaign. We have launched a campaign with United Airlines Vacations that'll correspond to the sales mission we just conducted in Dallas and Houston, and also will help with the activity that RASC is promoting in Houston to support the newly enhanced nonstop flight. And as far as trade shows and sales missions, we conducted a mission again to Dallas and Houston, the Bay Area, and we do have coming up in the next 30 days, Southern California mission, a conference for accessibility tourism to learn more about this channel, and also will be at the Governor's Conference of Tourism in Las Vegas and the Expedia Partner Conference as well. And as far as FAMs, we conducted a PHG FAM, Air Canada, and spring tours, and no FAMs are scheduled for the next 30 days at this time.
Great, thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Chisel, do you have anything to report on finance or operations?
Just real quick, the interim financials through August are in your packet. Overall revenues are $394,000 above budget, so that's good. And expenditures are 18% below budget, again, both on the right side. For our facilities, they're about $150,000 under budget for the first 2 months. As far as capital expenditures, just kind of want to note a couple capital expenditures were completed in the last month. The indoor lighting at the Livestock Arena is all complete, and it is literally night and day and has been well received by those that have seen it already. And the pre-function furniture is all in place at the convention center, and that has also been very well received. That's all.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chisholm. You know, I want to share just a brief, I think this is probably the best time to share this. During my sales mission with the staff back to Washington, D.C. was a very interesting and a very beneficial experience for me in the sense that I learned quite a bit about how challenging that market is for our staff to consistently sell and compete with a number of markets that are already existing back there. For example, our companion down south, RSCVA, has an office, and remember, because the market is so big, associations are coming to them for basically just to book nights. Whereas our staff has to constantly get out and really work every association in conjunction with the sales agents that are on the floor, that are on the floor back there in DC with them. And to see these individuals and have these conversations, it's difficult because they are selling a property that is 2,700 miles away from where they are trying to inform and educate these sales managers about the Reno Tahoe destination, and they do it very, very well through events, through their education, through their way they conduct themselves. Not only our staff, but the staff from Peppermill and also GSR. I watch these individuals work very, very, and they know the associations that they're working with. So I want to extend a kudos to everybody that was participating back there, because it was awesome to see them in their form and how they operate. The other thing but the one thing I wanted to bring back is that most people forget how wonderful Reno is, and you know, the thing is that we actually sat at a sales meeting with an individual that used to run a different conference, and she had changed jobs and was now with a new association, had been to Reno previously with a previous show, but had forgotten about what Reno was, and I haven't been there in years, and it just took us spending time with them. And so to Bill's point, when there's 4,000 associations and we have 2 sales agents on the floor back there, that takes a lot of work to remind people. So I encourage, and I think it was helpful that Phil and Mr. Larragetta and myself and everybody that we go and participate, because the more people we have on the ground to share with people the personal stories, the individual identities, and our perceptions of how our destination is, it helps every little bit to understand what we're doing. So I do encourage this board to continue to find some time within the year to take 1 week, a couple weekends or something like that to go and participate in these sales missions with staff. It does help. These people wanted to hear from the board, because I got to tell you, we were impressed to see that our CEO, a board member showed up to a sales meeting to have a discussion with us, and it made a difference in regards to their willingness to say, look, Reno's committed to our association and what we're going to do. So I know the mayor and I did that when we went and talked to Safari Club, and I think it's a big deal. I would urge the board to continue to do that. It was beneficial for me, and I think it was beneficial for the organization as a whole. So with that, we will close the presentations. Thank you, staff, for everything. We appreciate that. We are on to the finance portion of this morning. What I would like to do, if it's okay with everybody, we have a few items on here that we could put in block, which would be items F1, F3, F4, and F5, which are items for construction and CIP for our facilities. If that's amenable, I will take a motion, accepting a motion for those in block. I have a motion. I have a second. I have a motion and second to take items F1, 3, F4, and F5 in block. I'll read these items really quick. So F1 is a review, discussion, and possible approval to purchase from Briggs Electric, Inc. a system to upgrade the fire control system in the Reno Sparks Convention Center in the amount not to exceed $115,155. F3 is a review and discussion and possible approval of an agreement between RSCVA and Benchmark Inc. to provide project management and construction and observation for a roofing project at the Reno Sparks Convention Center, an amount not to exceed $124,200. F4 is a review, discussion, and possible approval of a contract between the RSCVA Olesi Construction Company for the demolition of the Reno Sparks Livestock Event Center Armory Hall in the amount not to exceed $71,346. F5 is a review and discussion and possible approval for the contract between the authority and Merit Electric for the purchase and installation of LED lighting at the Reno Sparks Convention Center A meeting rooms in the amount not to exceed $59,325. I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on these items? Seeing no public comment, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. So we are on to item F2, Mr. Chisel.
Again, being real quick, Robert Chisel. The Room Tax Department of the RSCVA reviews itself on an annual basis to analyze its auditing performance. The Room Tax Department completed 19 audits for fiscal year 2018-2019, which resulted in findings of $156,981 in taxable revenues and collected assessments totaling $56,329. The Room Tax Department's goal is to perform audits on all hotel properties within a 3-year cycle and is being maintained. Schedules have been set in place so that all other licensees in Washoe County are audited on a 5-year basis. I would point out that last year we did complete the audit of Airbnb, which was also successful. The annual review of the audits completed helps in summarizing the overall deficiencies regarding compliance with our room tax regulations. There are in your packets some charts that show the different performance and compliance. Staff recommends the board approve this report and direct staff to provide the cities and Washoe County with a yearly summary of its audit collections.
Thank you, Mr. Chisel. Are any discussions about the room tax department performance? Seeing no questions, looking for a motion to approve. I have a motion by Ms. Silver, second by Mr. Wood. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Chisel. Mrs. Neal, we are on to item G1.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. In your packet, you will find an analysis completed by our insurance broker, LP Insurance Services, regarding the renewal of the RSCVA employee benefit plans. We're not recommending any changes to our current plans. You'll also see a staff report. We are receiving a renewal of United Healthcare at no increased annual premiums. We have an increase in our dental, which is being offset by a rebate from United Healthcare for our successful management of our medical loss ratio. So total increase fiscal impact is $824.38. Staff is requesting renewal of these plans.
All right. Seeing any discussion on the employee insurance packet? Seeing none, all looking for a motion to approve. I have a motion by Mr. Caroselli. Second by Mrs. Silver. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Boy, that was quick this morning. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, look, we're on item board member comments regarding any items for the future meetings. Are there any comments or anything that anybody would like to have seen in December's meeting? Seeing, I would ask one thing. Mr. Larragueta, you did a little bit this morning in your presentation. I would like to point out, I want to see more highlights on our citywides, in the sense that a list after they've been booked, we can fully disclose that they are coming, but a list to all of our board members and also to the community. Not just for the large interbikes and safari clubs, but all the citywides that are coming. The citywide you just spoke of about the educators, citywides that are going to book a good majority of our properties. They don't have to be special like a bike show or a hunting show. It has to be something about how they're bringing economic vitality to our community. So I'd like to see a little bit, and Mr. McDonald, I'd like to see how we do that. So if we can put something together for the board, somehow we can highlight that within the region as well. I think that's important, because to point out 78% of our business that we've generated from your department is brand new or renewed within the last, they haven't been here for 4 or 5 years or longer. That's important stuff. Those are important statistics to get out to our community, that we are doing successful sales here at the, and we may not be placing them all in the convention center, but they are landing in our properties. Every one of our properties is seeing some benefit from those sales. So I would like to see that in our packets, or somehow distributed amongst the public. Anything else? Seeing nothing from everybody else? No, I have no public comment sign in. Seeing no public comment. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Almost as good as the Sparks meeting.
37 minutes.